Hey, Les.
Hey, KD.
How you doing?
It's good to see you. I'm doing great.
Tim, welcome to my little diner.
Yeah, we're both a little sleep deprived because we were watching the NBA Finals last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is too early in the morning for me anyway.
Yeah. We're basketball buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I know we've discussed this before just informally, but recently I had a student of mine, an online student, because I have an online course, and she was from India, but she was visiting New York, and she came in to visit my studio with her husband, and she was just so dumbfounded to meet me. And I don't get to deal with this very often. You get to deal with it
You
all the time.
dumbfound most of the people I've seen.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but that's a different kind of
Okay.
dumb. Yeah. Anyway, but she did the whole traditional Indian student teacher thing. She insisted on like bowing down and touching my feet, and she was so like overwhelmed by being in my presence. And I had a kind of a strong reaction to that. I was like, stop doing that. You know, like, no, that's not me, right? And so I know you deal with this all the time. And I know it's something that you struggle with in various ways. And where are you with this now at this point?
Yeah. I don't struggle that much with it anymore.
Not anymore?
The whole thing for me was, well, first of all, that's her culture. That's what they do, and it kind of showed you a place in yourself too, which is also useful to look at, because it's not like you don't do what you do, and that's what she's responding to. Of course, she's seeing it as you, and you're looking at it from the inside, and you know it's not me. That's just what I do. But there's a lot of issue of self-worth and self-loathing underneath all that. That it's hard to accept that kind of graciousness from other people, and because they point that out to us. In India, they don't have, they're always going like this, and they don't mean it,
Sure.
No, but it happens to me a lot. People, especially Indians, come to the kirtans and they come and they want to touch my feet, and I try to joke them out of it, but
Because I've seen you kind of, in the past, kind of recoiling from that a little bit.
it becomes an issue of the lady doth protest too much. If you keep just pushing people away like that and saying, no, you're too busy doing that. You have to kind of learn to accept that's their version of this. They're welcome to that. The idea is whether you shouldn't be caught in either a positive attachment to it or a negative attachment to it. If you have a negative response, that's not healthy either. That's a whole thing we all have to work on. For me, it was very hard at first, just to say thank you, or say you're welcome. People say thank you all the time, and I just go. But after a while, I saw, this is, first of all, it hurts those people because you're not accepting
What they're offering.
their thanks, and there's no reason not to accept thanks. So it's kind of a thing that part of it is not taking it personally and still recognizing that it is what you do. You do a great service to people. You've put the time in. You've done the sadhanas. You've done the practices. You're teaching things that are helpful to people. Give yourself credit for that. Don't put yourself down. And if people want to do that, then I remember when Ramdas, people started touching his feet and stuff. Some Baba said, once that starts, it'll never stop. You can't stop it. And I thought, okay, so you have to kind of accept it without taking it personally. I know who I am. I know how much I am. But there's a lot of stuff in there. There's also the chanting. There's also the being with people. There's also 40 years of practice and trying to find out what's worthy of a world that's worthy of living in, trying to find that kind of world. So it's all part of our own work on ourselves. You don't want to hurt people. That's the last thing you want to do. So when you recognize that by not accepting their thanks, you're not only helping them, but you're not helping yourself either.
Well, it seems to me that there's a thin line there, because if you start accepting it too much and then start expecting it, then there's a real danger there too.
But really, there's no line, you see. That's the thing. If you see a line, that's because you have an issue with it. For me, I don't see that line anymore. I've experienced directly that Maharaji is doing all this. I've experienced that. I'm not thinking about that. It's not something I read in the book. I experienced that Maharaj is doing all this. It just looks like me. And I don't think it's me. Even when I think it's me, it doesn't change the fact that he's doing it. That's the funny part. That's actually the part of my experience that allowed me to come back and sing. I went to India in 1995 after quitting chanting because I was taking it personally, to make it simple. And I said to him, of course he'd been dead for 20 years, I said, all right, you have to fix this. This is your problem. I'm singing to people in your name. And this is not why I signed on, to take this all personally and use every bit of this energy to get myself off in one way or another. You have to fix this, otherwise I'm not singing. So 3 months went by, he didn't do a damn thing. Then one day, everything changed. He did something, he really did something. He changed how I saw everything.
Was that a moment, like a specific moment?
It was one day. It was a period of a few hours of me diffusing away like mist in the sunlight, and what was left was that presence, being, space, the one, self, and there was no Krishnadas.
Were you chanting when
No,
that was
I
happening?
was in the temple in India.
I see.
It was on the day, the Bandara, when the temple was opened. And the whole thing, if you ever want to read, is in my book. It's in great detail. But the idea was, but what happened was, I saw the way things really are. And guess what? The shit they write in those books is true. Actually, after all. But we come at it from the West with such a very hard, kind of calcified psychological shape that we take it, all that stuff, we see it through our own version, our own subjectivity, and it doesn't work that way. And so we get very disappointed in all that stuff. As we say, this is bullshit. You know, I'm still here, nothing's worked. You know, go fuck yourself. It doesn't work. But the problem is that it's all true. And all of us are going in that direction. We'll all have that recognition because there's that little itch of unsatisfactoriness inside in our lives. And most of us don't recognize that we can remove that itch. So we just pretend it's not there, but life has a way of showing it. Every time somebody bows to you, you experience a feeling that's not comfortable. And life has a way of showing us those moments. What we don't understand in the West is there's a way to transcend and transmute and transform those moments so that we recognize what really is there. So when somebody bows to me, even if that was the part of the experience. I was out of my way for the first time in my life. And people were coming towards me. And I just looked at them and they said, thank you. Oh, so thank you so much. I said, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't go like, thank you. You know? And it was natural. It was just simple. And I was just sitting in this space and it was phenomenal. You know? And I remember I looked off in the distance once and I kind of saw up in the sky like a thickening of the atmosphere, kind of like a raisin in Jell-O. Floating in the Jell-O, you know? And I laughed out loud and I said, that's Krishnadas-ness. It was this bundle of thought activity like this, but it was very local. It was like a little thing like this and it was up there. And I saw that when I think I'm Krishnadas, I act like Krishnadas. And I think I am. I think I am. When those thoughts are no longer arising, there's just being here. There's just here-ness, space, presence. And even when I get stupid and I think I'm Krishnadas, it doesn't affect this. This is always here. I'm just not looking at it. For whatever reason, whatever karmic situation that I'm not able to be aware of it, it doesn't change it, that this is what's real. That's what freed me to go back. It was okay to be stupid. It wouldn't affect anybody, it wouldn't hurt anybody, it wouldn't even hurt me, because the truth is this. So that was a big, without that I wouldn't be here. Now I wouldn't be chanting all these years. And it was the simplicity of it that was astounding. When I was sitting there, it's just like, and people were moving and walking and talking, and all there was stillness and space and peace. This peace that was so deep and unending. It was extraordinary. And of course, I had stayed only for one reason. Siddhima had said to me about 3 weeks before, when I told her I was going home, she said, no, you have to stay until the 15th of June. You have to see Maharaji's big form. And I remember thinking, what is she talking about? So I made some calls back to the States. Nobody was looking for me. So I decided to stay. So she sees that as Maharaji's big form, his true form, right? The whole thing was astounding. And that's what freed me to come back and be me at 100 miles an hour. I didn't have to hold back anymore when I chanted, because I wasn't taking it personally. And it was okay for everybody to look and project onto me. I know it's not me. This is their problem. If I get caught in it, it becomes my problem, and then I have to work on that. But by His grace, for the most part, that doesn't happen. And that's the only reason that any of this could have happened and can continue happening. It's His grace. He did this. We're very similar in many ways. We kind of have a basic self-image that we share with other people of our lineage. And but the thing was that those moments in Kenchi, those days, it just changed the way I sit in myself. Except when you're putting your thumb through my ribs up into my, best body worker in the 3 worlds.
Oh well,
I wouldn't claim
that.
See, there he goes. He's going like, oh no, don't.
Well, because I know really good people also, but that's how we met. Originally getting body work done.
Right. Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, this is the one thing that I always do remember, is that I have to continue working on myself, which means I have to keep being honest myself about my issues. And the things that make me uncomfortable, that's where you have to go. If you don't go there, if you don't, we kind of live up here, but there's shadows behind us, which is pushing us. And if we don't deal with those shadows, they just push us into traffic, right off the street into traffic, and we don't want that.
Well, that's what I found over the years, is those shadows you mentioned when they arise, which ordinarily would create a reaction to run away from them, because they're so unpleasant. Now it's like, ooh, that's getting my attention. That's absolutely. That's stuff that needs to be resolved. I need to look at that. It's like overcoming that understandable reactivity to that, and having the space to see it for what it is, which is like, you need to look at this.
Ram Dass always talks about suffering being, and Maharaji said, I love suffering. It makes me think of God. And I used to think, what is he talking about, But that's the point. It's like the things that make us uncomfortable, that cause us pain. There's the external reality of the pain, but then there's our reaction to it, which is more painful sometimes than the actual situation. And Ram Dass, for instance, when he talks now, it's different than when he talked when he came back to India, from India the first time. There he is sitting in a wheelchair for the last 20 years. He's got to be turned in bed, he's got to be taken to the toilet, he's got to have his ass wiped, he can't do anything for himself. And he is happy beyond belief. He has overcome pride. And it's extraordinary. So when he says these things like, you need, the suffering can teach you, he's been through that fire, because he only had one option, is to sit there in that chair.
Right.
So what is he going to do with his mind? Is he going to suffer, or he's going to work through that stuff to really release it all? And he has. It's extraordinary. I tease him. I say, you finally become who we thought you were 40 years ago. And he laughs. Yeah. And it's true. He's really, of all the Westerners I know, he's really an extraordinary state. It's beautiful. 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 So and so once he said to me, I bless you, he said, I bless you, may you have a stroke. Because he recognized how hard a case I am, you know. And he was just saying that, you know, until you reach a moment where you have no option but to go through the fire, you're not gonna go through the fire. So, you know, through that stuff, right through it. And the point is, once you recognize that the only shot you're gonna get at it is now, whenever that is, you try to take advantage of that the best you can.
Did you say thank you when he
I said, yeah.
wished the
thanks.
stroke on you?
Yeah, same to you, buddy. Of course, that already happened to him, so that wasn't going to work. No, I knew what he meant. I knew what he meant, you know. And I certainly hope that I can do the work. Who knows? You know, we're getting old. Anything could happen. And when it does happen, whatever it is, I really, you know, my only hope is that I'll be able to deal with it, you know. But unless you're here now, you're not going to be here then. You have to work now, and then when those difficult moments arise, you're in gear. You know, you're prepared at least for the fight.
Sure. So there's no like, I'll get around to being here now later.
Yeah. Dalai Lama said there's only 2 moments in life that you can't do anything. Yesterday and tomorrow. Now is when you can do. So, anyway.
Well, thank you. I hope I get into that situation again where someone else tries to
Would
touch
somebody
my
touch his feet, please?
We'll see how I'm able to deal with it next time.
And you were, I don't want to give too much away, but you were a Swami for 10 minutes, and you knew
9 months. That's
9
not,
months, but
yeah.
that put you in a position where you had to deal with a lot of that stuff. You know, people seeing you in a certain kind of way that you didn't feel that's who you were.
Well, that's the fundamental thing is someone else seeing me in a way that I don't see myself.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
You know.
Sure.
So there was a mismatch there.
Yeah. But the beauty of it is that you can allow people to be who they are when you allow yourself to be who you are, which is whoever that is on whatever side of that line, you know. There's no reason to try to change everything around you to make yourself feel better. That's never going to work. I tried.
Oh, yeah. Didn't work, huh?
We all tried.
Yeah.
So we know that the work's inside. That's where we have to find it.
Thank you. That's actually really, really helpful to hear.
Thank you, sir.
L'chaim.
Can I come see you this week for body work?
Yeah, I have some time.
I'll call you.
All right, man.
All right. Take good care.
All right.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Hara 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 Mahadev, Jaya Hara 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 Mahadev, Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva, Brahma Vishnu Sada Shiva, Hara 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 Mahadev, Hara 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 Mahadev, Jai Shiva Omkara, Jaya Hara Shiva Omkara, Rama Vishnu Sada Shiva, Rama Vishnu Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
Good. My question is about improving the quality of my life through learning what's at the root of being judgmental and critical, to lessen it in my life, to improve the relationships with everybody, but especially the closest family members.
Sure. Yeah. There's no better defense than an offense, right? So really, you're kind of we tried to deflect criticism or prevent people from seeing us by being, it's a reaction up to our own stuff that we're critical. It's really not the other people. It's kind of fear on our parts, some kind of fear. And we keep people at a distance that way, and also avoid the main issues, which is always good to do. We so many likes and dislikes. It's like everybody's pretty much the same now. Everybody wants the same, even though people don't seem to be doing the same thing that we're doing, but they're doing the best they can. And so are we. As meager an effort that we're making, it's still the best we can. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think if we feel better about ourselves, we'd be less critical of other people. Probably. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I think so. I had heard one of your talks where you said all relationships are business.
I didn't say. I was quoting somebody.
Right. Yes. Right. But it's good.
Yeah. Business in the sense that we give and we get, and we give in order to get, and it's a business deal. The point that the person was making was that real love is here all the time. You don't get it. You don't fall in it. You don't fall out of it. It doesn't come from other people. It's who we are. Relationships are people, stuff interacting. And maybe he's trying to share some deeper spaces. But our true nature is love. That's what this guy was saying, and that's where we're headed. That's what our goal should be, to realize our true, who we really are. And when we realize that, we'll be in love all the time, and everybody will be included in that, because that's the way love is. So if it's interpersonal love, it's business, and then there's only a limited amount of it. And I've got to hold on to what I got, otherwise somebody will get my share, right? But if we recognize there's an unlimited supply of it, then it's everywhere. There's nothing to hold on to, no fear of losing it. So the fear of losing and the fear of and the desire is in the emotional realm, not in the realm of reality. That's the business. So we try to give somebody what they want, so they'll give us what we want, which is attention. It's not really love. Just pay some attention to me, goddammit.
The biggest issue is raising children and thinking you know what's best for them. You know.
Well, yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, all you can do is love them and guide them as best you can, and let them know that they're loved. Let them feel they're loved, and then they won't be so hungry to find that in an artificial way later. If they have a solid feeling that they're okay inside, because you give, then it might make things a little easier later down the line. But everybody's got to live their own life, make their own mistakes, and learn from them. Hopefully, just like we did and do every day.
Yeah.
To expect anything different is not reality. And it's a tough time now. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a kid now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I could ride my bike anywhere, any time of the day or night. It was never a problem. Now you don't let a kid out of your sight.
Yeah.
For a minute. So things have changed. It's a very different kind of world now. It's tough, very hard.
And they're more fearful because you're more fearful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So then, but still, there's a difference between taking care and taking care of with fear. I mean, the fear is inside of us, not in the outside. We have the fear. It doesn't change what's going to happen necessarily. It just changes the quality of this moment. So our job is to keep releasing that, and we get strength from that to deal with whatever will come up. If you're always clenched, when something happens, there's no way to deal with it. But if you're, then there's some movement possible, So if you're in a more present, more relaxed state of mind, and you get strength from that, because that means you're more present. You're dealing with things as they are, not as you're laying out your fear on top of it. So yeah, that's a good practice. It's a good practice to do. Just recognizing that and letting it go again and again and again.
Being less reactionary.
And that's what will happen. Sure, you will be, because you're not like this all the time.
Okay.
If I was you, I wouldn't listen to what I said, but that's what I said. So, but yeah, I watch my daughter go through her stuff, and I know where she got her stuff from. It's not a mystery. Hello. But she had it easier than I had growing up, so maybe her life will be easier than mine was in a certain realm, right?
Yeah. Like, I'll see my daughter when she's at her worst, and she's just like me, and I can't take it. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember saying those things, and now I've let them go, but they've been re-embodied.
Well, she has to learn to let it go from herself, and hopefully you have given her more tools to work with when it comes to that. I'm sure you have.
Can I just give you this Prasno Upanishad? It's in the same vein as this questions and answers
Cool.
of a spiritual nature. Yeah.
Question. Okay, sure. Love it. Thank you.
Good. I hope you enjoy it.
Printed in India. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Oh, they have a transliteration here. That's nice. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Durgati Nashini Durga Jaya Jaya. Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Durgati Nashini Durga Jaya Jaya. Umarama Brahmani Jaya Jaya. Jaya Radhe Sita Rukmini Jaya Jaya Radhe. Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Durgati Nashini Durga Jaya Jaya. Jaya Kali Kalyani, Ali Jaya Jaya. Jaya Radhe Sita Rukmini Jaya Jaya Radhe. Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Kalabinashini, Kali Jaya Jaya.
Durgati Nashini Durga Jaya Jaya.